Hey guys, it's Nolan from Trade and Train. Hope you had a great weekend. So we've got a result from the US elections. Biden is the new president-elect, as they say. But as you can see here with the headline, Biden names COVID panel as Trump legal push looms. So, President or ex-President Trump isn't kind of giving up the ghost and going away easily, but, he's claiming this, that, and the other, but without any proof. So, not too sure how far he's going to get realistically. I think he's just delaying the process. But, it looks like, we can pretty much say with certainty that Joe Biden is the new US president. So the markets opened last night with a little bit of gap in compared to the closes on Friday. And then we saw basically the market go into what we call risk on sentiment. So we saw the risk assets. So they would be the Australian dollar, the Kiwi dollar, Canadian dollar. We saw those all being bought. We actually saw indices strong as well. And that went through to, actually, this piece of news here about a vaccine from Pfizer, I think it's pronounced. I think it's a silent P. Pfizer vaccine study shows that it prevents 90% of coronavirus infections. Well, the market went wild with that news. And, it was already a risk-on sentiment, but that just made it an extra catalyst to the market. So what already was a risk on market just skyrocketed the indices and Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar, etc., etc. So they seem to have leveled off a little bit now. You can see the Dow there's coming to that big number of 30,000, and we start to see a little bit of selling come in. But we've certainly seen the buyers kind of not leave the market but die out, I would say. So yeah, we've seen the indices go up. There's the Dow, the FTSE making strong moves to the upside. And we saw gold drop. We saw the indices go up. Okay, we've seen gold drop today. As you can see, people would have been fooled actually on the weekend by looking at gold breaking out of this trend line and expecting maybe a pullback into this little area here, and then rejecting, and then more upside. So some people might have had a buy stop there. A buy limit, waiting for that. And if you did, then you probably got stopped out. This is why we, at Trade and Train anyway, we like to wait for a breakout, then a pullback, and then a retest, and then look to get in. Okay, because more often than not in these markets, we have fake outs, fake moves to the upside or to the downside, and you end up being on the wrong side of the market. It'll probably end up being, something like that, the trend line. We've got this as well. Okay, we've got this as well. So maybe a little channel going on here. So what we're going to watch at Trade and Train is we've got this little bit of support here, okay, which we're at the moment. Now, price could bounce from there, okay, could bounce, or we may in fact, I'm going to leave that on for a second. It may push to the downside, okay. People might be looking to sell then, but we've got this trend line here, this bottom trend line with one touch. We'll call this two touches. We may get a third touch here, and it may bounce, okay. Because when you look at gold, let's go to the weekly. Let's take these off actually. Yeah, I mean, today it's been a very bearish day. We've sold off very heavily. In fact, this weekly candle is in fact the daily candle as well, because it's basically the first day. But look, I mean, look how gold can recover. Look at that bearish week there, and then we start to see buyers come in. And when you look at the bigger picture, you actually see that gold is in this kind of weekly uptrend. You know, from when it broke out here, it closed above here in June 2019. It hasn't really looked back, and yet we do get some deep pullbacks, but that momentum is certainly to the upside. And, you know, and we actually made an all-time high back in August this year. So we are looking at this as a correction pattern for more upside. So we may even see this high tested, maybe even broken as well. Now, seasonally getting onto the end of the year, you'd normally see the precious metals increase in value. So don't be necessarily fooled by today's candle, okay, that we're going to see this big downside on gold, because that's not necessarily the case. You've got to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to the upside. So, I mean, we are interested in seeing what happens at this level, but also going to keep this in as well, because we might bounce from this level. So all you've got to do is, I mean, you don't even need to be watching this every hour of the day. You could simply just be, you know, trade this end of day. Look at this candle here. Okay, that's an engulfing buy bar. Price came down, 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 stalled. Okay, we had a little bit of buying activity there, inside bar, and then boom, bullish engulfing bar. We get something like that down here. We get price slowing down, and then we get a big surge of buyers. Well, that's your cue to get into the market long. And remember, it's always best to go with the trend in the market, the bigger momentum, and the bigger momentum on gold is to the upside. You know, with any sells on gold, you are going against that flow. So just remember that. Doesn't mean that you can't do it, but obviously when you try to swim in the opposite direction to a stream, if you like, it's always harder work, isn't it? So, which is why it's always easier just to go with the trend. So, yes, selling off hard today. Do I think this is some kind of big downside? No, I don't. But I will wait for this momentum to slow down. I will be looking for buyers to come in. Then I'm going to be looking to get into this long. And like I say, seasonally, look for long on the precious metals going through to the end of the year. And that goes through to the beginning of the new year as well. So we could be holding a gold long trade, you know, through Christmas, January. See how it goes. So I'm going to sit this one out and see what happens. Do we get a bounce off this little area of support here, or do we come bounce off here and look to get in long from there with the right price action? But who knows, it may just crash further down, and me personally, well, I'm just going to wait that one out because the bigger move is to the upside. So that's something to look for, okay, gold longs, but you just got to wait for those sellers to die out and then get into a nice long trade, and you could be in that trade throughout the rest of the year. You could hold it throughout the rest of the year and into the early parts of next year too, if all goes according to plan. So yeah, today we've seen some strength in the dollar as well. It's a nice level actually. If you look here, if this is a fake out, you can see it's got a very, very nice level there for buyers to come in. And at the moment we have a bullish engulfing bar. Might not necessarily close like this, it's a daily candle, but yeah, this candle has broken the low of Fridays. It's broken the high of Fridays, and currently if it was to close, it would close higher than Friday. So if it actually closes tonight higher than Fridays, that's a great indication that we're going to see some more buying momentum on the dollar index. How far it's going to go? Well, you know, we don't know. The markets are a bit all over the place at the moment. But that candle there coming off support would be a perfect opportunity to start to look to buy USD. Kind of look at Euro USD. That's kind of the closest we have to the dollar index. It's basically the inverse. So, you know, nice area for Euro USD as well to look for a rejection. This is a very nice area of resistance. Prices come into that zone and we're seeing price sell off. So, you know, this is for end of day traders. This potentially, if price is to close like this is a sell opportunity below the daily low. Okay, below today's daily low. If we continue, you know, if today's candle continues to be like this and nothing changes and it's a nice bearish candle, then potentially a sell stop below this candle would be a good opportunity to make some money tomorrow if we see further downside. If you are going to do that, by the way, guys, make sure your stop loss is above today's high. Okay. So looking good for some further shorts this week on Euro USD if all goes according to plan. Pound USD. Now, to me, Pound USD looks like a correction pattern. Okay, after an impulse. So I'm not too sure how much you guys will know about trading. And by the way, we do have something called an essential trading program, which we hold every month. So if any of you guys are interested in that, we give a whole weekend of training, and then you have 30 days with our membership with our group, our club, if you like, where we go through everything that you've been taught, and really worthwhile. So if you're new to trading, then just leave a comment in the comments. Actually, if you want someone to get in touch with you and talk to you about the Essential Trader, then leave a comment. Preferably if you could leave a contact. Obviously, don't put your phone number on there. Maybe your email address, or send us a message directly. Or in fact, you could send an email to this address. That's to Mark. If you're interested in learning about trading, we hold an essential trading program which lasts a month. Okay, drop us an email there, and we will get in touch with you. So Pound USD. Anyway, to me, this looks like an impulse correction impulse. So I'd be expecting something like this. Okay, so oops. Not like that. Impulse, correction, impulse. That's what I'd be expecting. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but if you look at this price momentum, it's very sharp. A little pullback, a little correction, sharp momentum. Now look at this, how price is here. It's very tight. It's very up and down. There is obviously a clear movement to the upside, but it's not as sharp as this. So potentially this is a correction for downside. You'd expect price to break through this with a new impulse. Now I like the fact that we've made a new high, okay, and we started to see sellers come in. So this looks really good for a sell as well. Euro dollar looks good for a sell. This looks good for a sell as well. If today's daily candle ends up something like this, then again another sell stop below today's low, stop above the high, would potentially lead to some downside tomorrow if you get triggered into the trade. So I do like this one. I like this one even more because you have the potential of it breaking out of this trend line for further downside. But you don't know if that's going to happen. So if you do get triggered into the trade, you know, and you're 1% up, say, well, then you should be taking some profit off the table, maybe 50%, 60%, putting your stop loss to break even, and then seeing if price then breaks out. Because then at least you've banked some money, you put your stop loss to break even, and you're risk free, you can't lose anything. Again, we cover that in the Essential Trader program, so give us an email if you're interested in learning about that. So this looks good as well. Pound USD looks good with a sell stop underneath today's candle if it remains bearish like this. Okay, we've got about 3 hours 21, so not long to go. But yeah, that looks very bearish. Euro dollar looks bearish. Kiwi dollar, I wanted to show this one to you as well. We've got some Kiwi news tomorrow, but look at this daily time frame. Okay, yes, it's a very scruffy uptrend, isn't it? It's making higher highs and higher lows. look at the MACD. Okay, if you don't know what a MACD is, then don't worry. But what I look for is a difference between what price is doing and what the MACD is doing. So as you can see, the price here is making higher highs. On the MACD, the highs are actually getting lower. So this tells us that we should presume that this buying momentum is dying out, okay, because we're getting lower highs in the MACD. So we've made a new high in the structure. So now I would be personally looking for a sell opportunity to get into this one. Now we do have news tomorrow, so be a little bit careful. It's very similar to pound USD. You know, it's made a new high and I'm looking to sell. So today's candle is a bit different to the pound USD. Pound USD is a very bearish candle with going to be a bearish close by the looks of it. This is actually going to be a bullish close, but I still think you could place a sell stop underneath the low and stop loss above the high. Looking to sell down into this zone here, take some profit off the table, put it to break even and see what happens. Do we get this to breaking out? We could, looking at, if you look to the left on here, we've got a very nice area where round about anywhere into that 0.69 big number area. So I am thinking that we could see price push up into this area first before we see sellers come in. So now that won't hurt your trade if you put a sell stop underneath that candle. Okay, then if price continues to push up, then you won't get triggered into the trade in theory. So I do like this to the downside. Okay, even if you're just trading this kind of you can see the momentum, this push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, push down. So back into this area, and it may break lower, we will see. But okay, you can see hopefully what we're getting at. So a sell stop underneath today's daily low could be an option for you if you agree. Otherwise, you may want to wait to see if price pushes up into that big number 69,000, and then we may get a rejection there. You can look for a rejection candle. So yeah, gold looking interesting, not quite ready though. Looking for buys on gold and looking to hold those buys for the rest of the year, but I'm waiting for those sellers to die out. DX, the dollar index, looks good for some further upside. How far, we don't know. You know, it's because price is kind of, it's not doing a fat lot, is it? It's bouncing up and down. Yeah, it looked like it was going to break out here, but it didn't really succumb to much. So at the moment, the kind of range is between there and there, isn't it? So we could be coming back up into that 64.5, 64.6 level, who knows, but looking good if today's candle closes like this, and if we break today's high tomorrow, then further upside. So Euro USD downside if you can break today's low. Pound USD again downside if you can break today's low. Kiwi dollar downside if we break today's low, but Kiwi dollar may come up into that 69,000 zone before it rejects, so just be careful of that. So guys, that's it from me, and we will catch you in the next video. Should be one out tomorrow. And yeah, trading is still a bit wacky, wild and wacky, and just be careful, you know, take those profits, get your stops to break even pretty quickly, you know, take that risk off the table, and yeah, just safe trading. If you've got any comments or any pair that you want us to analyze for you, then you can drop that in the comments as well, and we will gladly do that for you. All right, so from me, have a happy rest of your Monday, and I'll speak to you really, really soon. Bye.